Hello and welcome to Real Hi-Fi Help. So, challenge accepted. I will now change this amp to suit 3 different types of personalities in this video. So, let's just get into it. We've got the sound here from the Mcintosh. MCD, what's it called? MC275. So, it's usually conservative, bit limited, overly warm, lacking 3D, and that's compared to the best tube amplifiers in the world. There is a lot of potential in this amp. You can make it work with a lot of gear. It has that safe, compatible sound. So yeah, an amp with quite a bit of potential. Not anywhere near, good stuff like Ear, Jadis, Audio Note, and so ever, but also in a slightly different price category. So yeah, let's try and make this work. So we get this 3 different types of people that can listen to it. So the guy who wants it dry and correct, he's the guy who prefers ease, separation, clarity, that it's dry, Vulca, has a cool sound, and with a wide soundstage. So very easy. You have a Mcintosh CD player, and you just basically put MIT cables on everything. And I suggest not the lowest MIT cables, but something like, close to the middle. Then you get this effect. Some people like that, and other people don't. Sorry. And then we have the balance sound. Okay, this is where it gets interesting. That's for you who want it as natural as possible with best integration, balance, and beauty. So let's do that. And we're basically just putting an isolated mini sub-axis power box on it. That's gonna like open it up and make it more receptible to other things that are going on. And we're gonna use some more exciting cables like summer cable quadra blue, like some speaker cables, or maybe even make that to power cables. And then maybe even Yorma cables. They are pretty expensive, but they're kind of interesting. But if you want like a more warm sound, then yeah, go with Carters. They're usually a bit more warm. And yeah, tubes can make them more alive. Just figure out what tubes it is that that you really want. Just research that, and there will be different temperaments of tubes out there on different levels. So that can definitely make a difference, even on Mcintosh that doesn't react a hell of a lot, but it can make a difference. And then use a lively and fun, colorful source like YBA CD player. They make some pretty good CD players, and they fit really well with the Mcintosh sound. I don't know what it is. I've had it before. It just somehow clicks. And maybe it doesn't click quite as much as the Mcintosh CD player, so you feel that it's the exact same type of sound, but it kind of is very similar, just more lively, more fun, more passion, like the name says, a sort of movement and energy that the Mcintosh CD players don't usually have. But Mcintosh CD, yeah, I mean, if you repeat Mcintosh with Mcintosh, that's also pretty good, like any other brand. And what is it that I wrote here? I would actually consider limiting the space of the room so the sound does not deflate. So try and stay within 30 square meters if it's possible, because it keeps the sound more alive. If you have too big a sound room, if it's like 50 square meters or more, it kind of deflates the sound, so you don't get that good reaction and control. So you want to keep it, on a certain level, around 30 square meters. That would be probably very good. And we're going for this soft, natural, fully integrated sound. So yeah, having a softer wall like drywall will make the sound settle a bit more if you want that. If you have a hard wall, it's going to be more more frank, more correct, more harsh, but yeah, you kind of have to experiment a bit with that. So 2 meter power cable with OA8 037 plugs, those are plugs that are really good with tube gear in general, and especially warm tube gear. So that's don't just think that I'm crazy here. That actually makes a difference and can change gear that is boring and gray and reserved and make it a hell of a lot more exciting. Kind of spice up that sound. And if you really want to be a bit, have something that's a bit more edgy and goes a bit deeper and is more about the intense detail and cutting through to the bone, then you might want to look at these 004 or 8 plugs. Those are ridiculous, the amount of detail that they give out. Yeah, be careful with those. Those are almost the most detailed plugs that you can get on the market, and they have a tendency of being a bit analytical and bright, but they are really good. They really cut deep. So, but they're also pretty expensive. These are a lot more easy to work with. So if you've got errors in your system, they will forgive them a bit more. And yeah, consider the ISIS power cable on a 2 meter long run. That is a pretty good match. Now, let's just go for the third guy. The guy who wants it more intense, powerful, and impressive. Okay, fine. You want that? Good. Let's give it to you, because let's do it with AudioQuest Niagara 5000 or 7000 power cleaner, and then use some proper AudioQuest mid to top level cables. I'm not talking about these rockets, whatever things, cables at the bottom, only costing a couple of $100. Go for the pretty expensive cables. They will make a pretty big difference. And then get some tubes that are a lot more alive. You can research that on the internet. And this makes a huge difference. This is a really aggressive, intense, punchy, raw plug. Some people don't like it. It's very much a hit and miss kind of plug. If you have a lot of bloatiness in your system and it's overly warm and intense, this can actually make an amplifier like that really change, so it becomes a lot more neutral and exciting. And yeah, it is the entry plug, so it won't be as evolved as the 037 plugs, and it won't be as natural and multi-layered, but it really changes the personality of especially an amplifier when you've got that on. That is one of the most big change power plugs on the market. It's an awesome plug. You should really hear it. If you're starting to look into plugs and try some good plugs, don't go for these cheap eBay plugs. Go for the really good stuff. This is clean. This is intense. This is punchy. This is raw. This is badass. The bass is very different, this one compared to that one up here, and it's kind of interesting. Kind of interesting. I really suggest that you guys try that, and very importantly, use it with the 1 meter long AudioNote ISIS power cable. They don't cost much. That's a good power cable. And when you get this combined with those plugs, wow, do you get reaction time? That's going to really make it lively. I wouldn't suggest doing that on the M-Labs and Playback Design. Maybe you want to have some like some 079 or 8 plugs on that, because those have a tendency here maybe being a bit analytical, but those are 3 different sound directions that you can take this amplifier to. I mean, Macintosh is still Macintosh, you know. You can't move it a hell of a lot, but these are three very, very, very different ways. I wouldn't say, yeah, I would kind of say that these are kind of three extremely different directions that you can take the the amplifier into. And you could also, if you really wanted to, you could replace this with like a top gigawatt box. I can't remember what they're called, Evo 3, 4, whatever. They are very similar to the Audio Quest Niagara. Slightly different personality, but also really impressive. Really big soundstage, really good bass grip. I prefer the Audio Quest. It's a bit more natural, and it kind of goes with the Audio Quest cables. But you know, you don't have to use this amount of money on doing that. You know, you could also, in theory, just like run it in the normal stupid way that most people do, on a $1 power bar, and put a $1 power cable on it, and then, you know, that's your sound. And you're running it with standard tubes, and maybe if you're lucky, a Macintosh CD player, and then, you know, you've got like a basic okay tube sound. But you know, going from that type of sound over to just let's say this MIT setup here, I mean, that's a big difference. Really big difference. I would actually prefer this MIT sound, even though I'm not an MIT cable kind of guy. It will have the problem is that when you don't go in a certain direction, it just becomes like, okay, maybe I shouldn't listen to music today. I'll just turn it off and go to bed early so I can go to work, you know. At least when you're going in the MIT direction, you get a certain direction and vibe that is very, very apparent, you know. It's very dry, it's very correct, it's very cool, it's very clean cut, and it kind of organizes the sound and puts everything in, you know, ticks off all the boxes and separates things, you know. And some people like that. I think it's unnatural, but you know, some people like that. It gives Macintosh even more ease and cuts it even more out and separates it. And I mean, I have to admit, when I got to know Macintosh to start with, and I then tried this as one of the first solutions, I thought, wow, I have to own MIT cables and I have to put it on Macintosh. It just has that crisp, clear, slightly vulgar sound, and it might be a bit mean and not really emotionally evolved, but it's certainly a different type of Macintosh sound. And yeah, this is more kind of me, you know, the more balanced sound where you kind of free up the Macintosh sound and it starts reacting, you know, it starts doing something that can be actually quite a bit of fun, you know. It took me a lot of years to figure out these tricks here, but these really make a huge difference, you know. You could also use a lot more money on another power box and other cables, you know, but you most likely will somehow not, what can I say, make the power cables, the signal cables, the speaker cables, the power box, they might easily all go in a slightly different direction, and therefore your Macintosh amplifier will kind of like shut itself in a bit and not really release itself enough. So, you know, so this is what I experienced, what really made Macintosh for me become almost as good as it could be. You know, I mean, you could also you know, make it more fast and flashy, you know, and you can put some Nordost cables on, you know, some Valhalla cables or something like that, you know. You could also do that if you wanted to. I don't really like Nordost cables, but that's a different thing. But three different directions. You know, what direction do you want to go to? You know, I don't know. How about you tell me in the comments what you think about this video? Did you like this video? Do you want me to do other content going in a different direction? Maybe you have a Macintosh MC275. Maybe you've tried another combination that's better. How about you tell me this in the comments below? Have a nice day. Bye.